All right. Hello, good morning. So I think I was supposed to work on Sandpack today, but there's a customer who wants to test the new changes, and I thought that's a great opportunity. So, oh, what the hell? So we're gonna prep that. And I think I have access to actually publish the thing as well, hopefully. So let's see, where's the SDK? SDK. Yeah. So I worked, like, it's really fun. Like, it's been a while since I had this, like, the motivation I have now. Like, the level of motivation, like, high motivation in the sense that, like, I just can't stop working on the thing. Because it's been, like, yeah, just the whole transition we had from CodeSandbox, like realizing we didn't hit market fit, what's going to happen to the company. And it was like a year-long process of realizing that to getting acquired and moving into a new project that wasn't really tied to CodeSandbox. And even though that project was like a good learning experience, it wasn't like in the part of like code and like it was an internal project, and I like it. But this is where I'm working now. This is where I'm most comfortable. It's like creating developer tooling, talking to developers, like figuring out, like, with a lot of complexity, how do you expose that complexity in an accessible way, and all of that stuff. That's what keeps me awake at night and get up in the morning. So yeah, I'm really loving this. But finally, I got some conclusions. Like, we had a good laugh, Ives and me, because uh, we have this thing of clusters, right? So these sandboxes, they can run in different clusters, and we're actually like quadrupling the number of clusters or something. So we're putting a lot of effort into this now. And there was a customer that needed to specify the exact cluster where they wanted to deploy some sandboxes. And I was confused by that because I was looking at the code and it mentioned some hack of like actually deploying to a specific cluster, but I couldn't see what it was. And then it was this IP country, which is not really the cluster. It's just like your country. And then we infer what cluster we should deploy to based on that. But it turns out that there's an actual like cluster argument, which I don't. Where is that actually being used? Get SDK. Yeah, so that's the thing. This is the thing that. Oh, okay. So we have get SDK. Yeah, because we're. Yeah, exactly. We're changing the. Oh, is this how it does it? Oh, that's what it meant about header. Yeah, so we're kind of hard coding a header that we use to deploy to a specific cluster. This is not something we want to really expose, but we had to do it for a customer. Again, like, this is how Evis thinks. It just there's nothing about like packaging like the actual product and constantly reflecting on like how to bring complexity together in a way that's accessible, like, because that's kind of where I come in. He's more like, okay, let's just make this available to the customer right away in the most efficient, straightforward way, and then later we're gonna care about like how we actually want to do this. This is again a great example of that. Okay, so this has actually nothing to do with. So IP country is completely unrelated. Okay, but there's another thing I don't quite understand here. It's because we do create sandbox, and then I don't understand why we don't use SDK create sandbox. Because API client, where is that coming from? API client. Maybe we have some special. Yeah, I don't quite understand that. Because that would have made things a bit simpler. I have to think about this. Like, I'm wondering if I'm actually breaking something, if root path, file paths. I have a feeling it's because we're passing in other things here that we don't pass in on the actual create on the SDK. But anyways, now we don't have, so we kind of have to do, so this is not the sandbox. Let's see, start response. So we're going to start it, and then we're going to say sandbox is new sandbox, actually. So that will be sandbox ID start response. Oh, fudge. And then, yeah, but we kind of have to do this now. Because what we want to do here, we want to start the sandbox, but start is not a thing you do explicitly now, because it's like it doesn't make sense to start. Here it makes sense to start because we just created it, but normally that doesn't make sense as an exposed method, because you're not guaranteed that when you start it, it's gonna actually apply these options, because it might already be running. So that's why you can only resume without options, or you can only restart with the options, because then you guarantee that those options are applied. Or if you create, of course, or fork. Oh, I got a, what's it called? Caffeine spin in my head. I don't really know why I'm drinking coffee. Like my first job, I used it as a social thing, like talking to customers. It was very, very efficient. But now I'm not sure why I'm doing it. Like one thing is the first cup, that's kind of nice, but this second one, I always get dizzy from it. You know what? I'm gonna stop taking this when I get home from driving the kids' coffee. Okay, so we have a start response, we have the sandbox, so this should be working now. And then there's another thing, and this is really in the, what was the change here? Oh, and then there's another thing, it's the browser. Because what we want to do here now, we actually don't want to send, I can show you the documentation for this. Did I pull? I think I pulled the projects. So let's see. Yeah, so also the documentation is really coming together. So we have create and resume. So this is how you create the sandbox. We now have the ID is up to date and cluster properties. What were they, all the properties? I can't quite remember that. I thought we maybe had some other properties. Yeah, by the way, we're not gonna have this global session anymore. or it's gonna be private because you don't actually need to use it anymore. I think we're using it here, right? Yeah. Is up boot up type. That's the thing that was missing. Okay, cool. Let's just fix that immediately. Create resume. Boot up type. The type of boot up, whatever. I can't remember the. Do I have the? Where are you? Boot up type. Running clean resume fork. Oh, did I? Yeah. Is it better to do running clean resume or fork? Yeah, that's nice. What's the difference between running and of course. Running is it's already running. Clean is like from scratch. Resume is from hibernation, or fork is like because you forked it. Let's see. Okay, so and then you can like create from template, create from Git, create from files. It's not ready yet, but we're gonna have that. Yeah, these additional options. I have to review those. I'm not sure if they're correct. And then you can resume existing sandbox. And then we have the sessions. So we're gonna do a little rename again. We're gonna call these things sessions and not clients. Blah, 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 blah. And then session in the browser is actually gonna be a callback now. And the reason it's gonna be a callback is because instead of creating the session on the server and sending it to the browser, now the browser can tell the server when it needs a new session, which is important for reconnects and stuff. So, yeah, and we have to take a look at that because we also need to pass on params to. Oh, there's one thing I haven't thought of. Okay, we have to. Okay, but this is the thing we're gonna fix now. We have a couple of hours before the session, so we're gonna focus on this and get this thing running because this is what the customer needs. We have to do some. We have to fix some more things here, but yeah, because we're actually gonna pass something as well to this fetch. So let's see. Okay, that's what we're gonna work on. So let's take a look here. Browser. So I did reflect on this API where we don't actually pass. So we don't pass the session. We actually just pass options. And one of the options is like get session. Which is gonna return. Let's see. Yeah, so we're not gonna do this. We're rather gonna do this. Yeah. Because the thing. Oh yeah, we still need this. Ooh, how are we gonna do this? We still need the ID of the sandbox. But this is the thing that's gonna actually resolve the session. And request picture instance actually passes in what it needs. But what about the reconnect token? Oh, this is when it joins. Yeah, sorry. This is not when it requests the new instance. This is just... Okay, how are we gonna do this? Because the point is that you don't... Yeah. So what I think we're gonna do is ID string, and then we're actually gonna do options.id, and then we're gonna do okay, this also actually has an ID, but you don't necessarily need to use it. So this will be options get session. This is actually required. Yeah. Okay, let's see. So to connect to Sandbox, you just give it the ID instead of giving it the session. And then this thing actually calls the server to go and grab the session. And this is important for example, if you want to fork, it will actually call session again. Like you can call a method on this instance, this Sandbox instance or client instance, and or maybe we should call them clients. They are clients. Yeah, sorry. Let's keep calling them clients. But you can also create a browser session. Yeah. And then you have create REST client, because they are clients. But then it's kind of weird to call it sessions. We're terminology. So maybe we should, instead of calling this, I thought about calling them sessions and clients. Maybe we should do that, sessions and clients, because they are bound together. Like a client is running with a session. Yeah, okay, we're gonna try that. Anyways, so you're gonna give this an ID. That's gonna get the session. So what happens here is like you open a URL, you have the ID already in the URL, you connect to Sandbox with that ID, and get session is going to the server to go and grab that browser session. And then if you want to do like server-side rendering, I guess you could do, well, that's kind of weird to do. Like you don't want to do server-side rendering in these kinds of solutions. Anyways, so now it just calls the server, and on the server there's an endpoint that that uses the SDK to create a browser session and returns it. This is really all there is. Cool. Okay, was that all? Wait, is it yarn? Was it yarn? No, it was npm run build. I did have something else I noted, and I thought I would remember it, but now I don't. Okay, so that's that, but I had it to do here, didn't I? Yeah, that's fixed now. Yeah, all of this, rather use fetch endpoint, should allow git access to, oh yeah, so these are questions I still have that I need to get answered. We're not gonna have a global session there. These are still the same. And this is session client client. Cool. I think this is really all we need for testing the beta thing. And I'm curious why. I was checking some tires for the car. No, this is SSH. Under special version. Oh, did I continue asking? Because I want to have this special version. Pre-release. Oh, if you want a proper somewhere pre-release, use the pre command. Ah. But the default will tag to isolate to yeah, under custom tag, exactly. Oh yeah, and then we say, okay, we're gonna try this. Pre-release. Okay, let's try that. Anyways, before we do that, I just wanna go through the documentation a little bit. Wait, there was another thing we're gonna fix, and that is ports and previews. Because I'm not actually sure, we have something called preview tokens, but those preview tokens, you don't really need to connect to the VM to create those. So I think those should actually be part of the sandbox, not part of the connected thing. So we're gonna actually move that. But before we do that, let's just quickly go through this stuff so that we have kind of the right terminology here. Yeah, this was just create, resume. Yeah, and then we have, yeah, sessions and where's sessions? Sessions and clients. That's what we're gonna call it. Sessions, clients, rename. Sessions and clients, I guess that breaks it. Sessions and clients, sessions and clients, allows you sessions, yeah, learn how to connect to sandboxes with the CodeSandbox SDK. I think this is like for SEO and clients. By default, the session is bound to a user called picture host. So let's call this. Now I have a session where I act as picture host user. Any action I do will be done as picture host user. When you run blah, 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 but you can choose to create your own user session with specific permissions. Blah, blah, blah. Client 2. Or you want to isolate their actions from the global sessions. So that means you say ID anonymous, permission read. So we don't really have like, currently there in the SDK, there's like sessions.create read only, but we don't really have that here now. And I'm still a little bit unsure about passing in a session here. So you actually have like sandbox.create session and create read-only session, and then you pass that session in here. But I don't see why you would ever want to have access to that other session. Like what would you use it for? I wonder if there's any CodeSandbox. Where's the docs? Oh, read the docs. Blah blah blah. Now let's say I want another user. Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it just uses, it is the client, right? Yeah, no, it makes sense. Ban. Cool. So we're gonna do this because like creating a session and creating a client is the same thing. It's like, it's just a permission type of thing. Or it's a configuration for a client. Like, what's the session you want to use for this client? That's basically what it is. And then storage, sessions in the browser. Sessions in the browser. Yeah, so this is an actual session, create browser session, and then client. Yeah, and now we have to change this to be ID, sandbox, get session. Yeah, and we're gonna do ID here, I think. Cool. So this is how it's gonna work now. And then we call this client. Yeah, and then we're gonna change it to client. Oh. Let's call it browser client. Yeah, I should mention client there. REST client. By the way, are these the same size? I wonder if this should, where's storage? Storage. Yeah, I think this should be like a sub thing to that thing. Sessions and clients. By default, a session is bound to a user called picture, blah, blah, blah. You define, okay. Now I have a session where I act as picture host user. Let's say you want to connect. Yeah, I think this. Now configure a session. Now configure a session that only has read access to the. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, and then we say browser client, create browser session. Yeah, I think we should just like optional ID. You can configure a custom session here as well. Also defaults to global user, but can configure custom session. We're using like user session, like, oh, global. Okay, I should say global session. Also defaults to global session, but can configure. And in the browser, blah, 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 get session, blah, blah, blah. REST client. And this would be create REST client. Also defaults to global session, but can configure custom session. Okay, nice. Hibernate, and this is just, oh yeah, it has some, there's gonna be some, let's see, await, resume. Yeah, we're gonna fix, yeah, this is the big note. Like I wasn't actually starting, taking advantage of starting the VM during creation and forking. But we're gonna do that now because that cluster hack, that was only related to the snapshot builder. So we need to fix that, and that's gonna make it, make sure it's like fast. Let's see, fork. Let me just clean this up because it's, let's see, client, 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 client. Then we have some more client, 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 client. Yeah, because it's kind of weird also in the old documentation. Like you have sandbox as a reference in one place, and then you have a session as a reference in a different place. Like it's, we're cleaning that up as well now. It's all clients. Okay, restart and shutdown. So this is gonna be resume, and we need to await that. And this is gonna be the sandbox. Yeah, resume. Yeah, so one thing that's interesting here is that to actually get the sandbox now, you have to start it. So we don't really have a way for you to, like in the current API, to just get a reference to a sandbox to, for example, just shut it down. We should probably fix that. So the question is just how you do that. That would mean we would need like some kind of ref or something, which is synchronous, that just gives you the sandbox without actually resuming it. And then you kind of get the same thing and you can do a shutdown on it. Hello, good morning. Hello there. Good morning. You know, we're gonna make a note of that. Let's see. To do allow getting sandbox reference without resuming. But I think it's better to have like a consistent way of getting a sandbox reference and then you operate on that reference instead of having, like in the previous API, we had, okay, you can get a sandbox reference and you can do, like you actually connect to a sandbox and create a session, and then you can shut down and restart and do whatever you want. But you can also do it at a higher level without having a session by just passing the ID. Hi there. Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks. How are you? So I'm working on, okay, let me do the short pitch. I've done it a few times now. So like if you don't know CodeSandbox was this service that was started like 5 years ago. Yeah, nice. But yeah, so CodeSandbox started as this writing code in the browser. Like, it was a step beyond what we knew as like JS Fiddles and these kind of services, because it had a browser bundler, so you could run React and all kinds of stuff like Vue and Angular and everything in the browser. And I got to CodeSandbox through open source, helping out the project, and then it became a company because we were going to try to monetize browser sandboxes, and that didn't work. People didn't want to pay for browser sandboxes, even though we added like a lot of cool features, targeting like design systems and stuff like that. There just wasn't any money in it. And then we did a pivot. We got a new investment pivoting to creating the same kind of experience, only using VMs. So we have found this technology. Well, actually, that's wrong. It wasn't because of the technology. We actually used this container concept to begin with, but we knew that wouldn't scale. So then we found this technology called Firecracker, which we built a lot of custom stuff on, with the goal of bringing it as close as possible to the browser experience, which is kind of insane. And then we did that. We built that infrastructure, and we applied like a cloud development environment product on top of it with a lot of cool features. But at the end of the day, developers don't want to code in the cloud. They want to code on their local machine with minimal latency and all that stuff. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have like these new workflows enabled by the cloud. It's just an impossible sell. So we couldn't find market fit there either. And then AI happened, and we saw like, oh shit, we actually have the perfect infrastructure for AI. But at that time, we were running out of money. We didn't have like the energy and motivation to do yet another pivot. So we were kind of looking for not an exit, but yeah, that last year at CodeSandbox, just being CodeSandbox, was a bit rough, not knowing what was going to happen. But then we got acquired by Together AI, and that was a perfect fit for us, because that meant that we could actually go full steam ahead on actually making that pivot, but not really as like this is going to be like integrated into Together. It's currently still called CodeSandbox, all the stuff we're doing, but it's going to be integrated with Together, at least at some capacity. Yeah, but that so what we did is that Yves, the founder of CodeSandbox, built this kind of MVP development kit for developers to kind of just test the waters. Is this really what people want? And it's definitely what people want. And now I'm kind of the person that goes behind or follows along this MVP and kind of cleans up everything, making it scalable, making sure that like the interface is consistent and makes sense and all of this stuff. So there's kind of two things we're working on. It's the actual SDK, which allows you to interact with all the sandboxes, connect to them, do build products on top of them and everything. And then there's another thing called Sandpack, which is kind of like a mini CodeSandbox. That's also built with the SDK in mind, but it still has the browser bundler, but integrates really well with the SDK and the VM sandboxes and everything, which you can also use to build products on top of. So I guess, like, long story short, CodeSandbox has like amazing technology and people building that technology, but we weren't able to monetize an end user product for it. But now we've been able to get into a position where we can build developer tooling instead from this technology. So people can build end user products, and we support them doing that. And for me personally, that's super awesome because I love working with developer tooling, and like enable developers to build stuff. So yeah. Oh shit, now I forgot the thing. Or I forgot the thing we were doing. There were, oh yes, it was the fork. Oh yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've been like lucky. Like I never did anything on purpose. I just got dragged into open source through writing like an article once. I wanted to try to write an article, and then yeah, I don't know what happened. But yeah, just having a lot of ideas and being naive enough to share them, and then being dragged into, like, everything I do now is coming from leaning into open source. So yeah, I feel lucky that way. Okay, I have to write this down. There's 3 things we're gonna do. We're gonna do allow getting sandbox reference without resuming. We're gonna start VM on create fork, and then move preview tokens to sandbox. Yeah, you know, a lot of people that jump into the stream are young people, like getting into coding now, and like I'm not sure what's gonna happen to coding. Like, it's very strange times. Oh, do I have a copyright footer? What does it say? I can't remember that. But yeah, like, I'm not sure. It's very, very difficult to give advice on coding these days because we're just at the beginning of this big transformation of what coding means. But I don't think the thing is, like, coding is a tool to solve problems. The important thing is having a mindset for solving. Oh, it's from 2019. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna change that. Thanks. Coding is just a tool for solving problems, and that tool is about to change. So, but what's good about programming is that it creates a mindset of using a very constrained tool to solve problems, and having that mindset of, like, having something constrained actually helps you be more creative, and you get into this, like, how are we going to solve this? We only have, like, this very constrained tool, and how are we going to solve this problem? Just getting into that mindset. It doesn't have to be coding even, but coding is just very constrained. But getting into that mindset, that's the thing you want to learn, and coding is a great way to learn that mindset. Because even though AI is, like, more and more taking over the actual writing of the code, and you can argue how far that can go, but what we still need are people with mindsets of solving problems, and knows how to solve problems. Like, what kind of mindset do you need to get into to solve problems? And constraints is a fantastic tool to bring up, like, creativity and so on and so on. So I wouldn't worry so much about, like, how needed the actual coding will be in the future. Just the practice of using code to solve problems is going to be very useful regardless. But I would maybe, instead of, like, doubling down on a single language, I would maybe be more focused on, like, generally what is programming, what different languages are there, what kinds of problems do they actually solve or try to solve. stuff like that. Because some people like, oh, I'm gonna learn React, and like their whole like career is around like a single, not even a single language, but a single framework, or yeah, around a single framework. And that I think is scary, like looking into the future. Because if something's going to be written by AI completely, it's going to be something like React. Yeah. I'm not sure if that made sense, but those were some quick raw thoughts. Yeah, so I actually like, and this is also the great thing for me, is like when we do developer tooling, we make everything open source. That's like just the default of doing developer tooling. And when you do things open source, you can stream it. Like you can just work on it openly. And I didn't done streaming for a long time. But I didn't really do it in the context of work. So this is just me like being very comfortable and used to streaming and giving my raw thoughts and bumping into things and having emotional breakdowns when things aren't working. So I'm like very comfortable with that. So I just saw this opportunity now that now I'm actually working on open source tools that, okay, let me just stream my whole workday or most of my workday when I'm actually working on those things. So I'm kind of like hitting two flies in one go, if that's saying. Because I work better when I stream. Because talking out loud and like thinking and reflecting, it's very is something I need to do to kind of figure out these APIs and how to make them accessible and stuff. So yeah, it helps me, and it's nice for people to join in and see that even though you have like 15 years experience coding, you're still getting stuck, you're still having a hard time conceptualizing things. And then also just exposing the tools, right? People ask about what are they used for, and so on and so on. So yeah, I feel like it's kind of a synergy doing the streaming. I want to fix this one first, because that one's important. So currently, when we create create template sandbox, there's something called start options. And that's why we originally had a way to extract those options from the general options. So let's go find them. There was it a utility? I'm not sure. No, I don't think it was a utility. Sandbox client, I think. Get props, get options. Was something about options. Start options. Yeah, start options. Where are you? So we're gonna bring that thing back. This is really a utility. Yeah, let's put it in here. Export get start options. Yeah, get start options. Did we call it start? Yeah. Oops, IP country. Yeah, okay. So what we can do now is we're always gonna do this. We're gonna say get start options, and we're gonna put that in there. So that's gonna extract the start options, and then like we don't actually, well, the thing is, okay, so we're not gonna return undefined. We're actually gonna return an empty object. And the reason is that we actually always want to start now. Yeah, because here, this is where I was confused. The reason is that we currently need to call an explicit start to start in the correct cluster, but that's not true. That was only the snapshot builder. So we always want to start a VM here. Like maybe there is a scenario where you don't want to start it. But I can't imagine what that scenario is. And if that's the case, that's something. So that's also a thing. Like when we've been building, like been iterating on this MVP of the SDK, we made some assumptions, and a way to like validate assumption is to not like make everything accessible in the thing that's going to be the public release, but rather constrain the API a lot. And then people will tell you when they beta test it, oh, but I'm actually using this. And then you kind of make it accessible in a way that makes sense for the rest of the changes. Yeah, look at this. We currently always bad. Okay, so we don't need. So start response is actually sandbox. Yeah. Wait. Oh shit. Dagnagit. So this one's actually creating this. How are we gonna do this? Yeah, we need another one. Export function get start response. The thing is that we have an Elixir backend, so everything comes in snake case, and then we have to change it. And I don't think we actually have. I don't quite like this. We need to find the correct type for this. Get start response. Handle response. Yeah, this is just handling the actual thing. How are we gonna do this? There's two different places we get this start response. It's either through an explicit start, or it's when we like do the fork thing. So we need to get this type from somewhere. Okay, but let's do this and then get. So response here is gonna, where is this type? That's what I'm wondering. Handle response start result. How does it know handle response? How does it know about this? Let's see, VM start data, VM start response. Key of VM start responses. VM start response. Yeah, and it's like it's in here. And the thing that bothers me is like is that this type, like it's optional here. So you can't access this directly. But what we can do is do this, and then if no response, we're gonna throw a new error. No response. Oh, sorry. So this would be data. That's picture manager response. Okay, so now we have a way to take this start response from the server and make it like normal snake case that we like. Yeah, and I think actually we can say this instead. Or will that, oh yeah, that still needs to be like this. So we're actually going to create a picture manager response here. Cool. So now here we are able to say get start response, and then we're able to do the same on create. Create template. So we're not going to do this. We're going to say get start response from sandbox.start response. Why are you complaining? Type null? Oh, what's that? Oh. So I guess there's potential null in this thing. Picture manager token. Huh, interesting. What was he complaining about? Type null? Is this saying that it can be null? Ugh. Picture manager response. I am confused. Picture manager response can't be null. No. What can be null? Oh, is it the actual... Wait. Oh, is it the actual sandbox start response that can be... No, that can be null. Come on. Okay. I can't believe this. No start response. Okay, this is what we want. So now, when you create or when you fork sandbox, yeah, sorry, because fork, that is the same as create. Okay, so now we made, we kind of gone back to the most efficient thing. Which is to start it when you're creating it. The only thing is, as I mentioned, we are not able to create now without starting it. But I'm not sure if that's the thing we're gonna test here. So we're gonna like publish the beta to all the existing users, and then we're gonna ask them, okay, let's add that. User questions. Do you need to fork a sandbox without starting the VM? Do you need to I guess shut down, restart the sandbox without resuming it first? I know someone has asked about checking the state of a VM, just to see is it actually running or not. That's something we can expose. Okay, so I think that's fine for now. And then we're gonna move the preview tokens to the sandbox. Yeah, we have time for that. Let's see. Oh, I'm getting some messages here. Okay, so let me check the preview tokens, because those are actually on Like, I don't think these, yeah, they don't care about the actual instance, do they? No, that's just an API client. Okay, so we're actually going to move the preview tokens to the sandbox, to the actual sandbox. Wait, they are on the sandbox. Oh, sorry, they are on the sandbox. Yeah, but then it's fine. Okay, fine. Let's see. Let's look at the docs quickly. So let's restart and shut down. So this looks kind of weird, right? You're resuming it just to shut it down. Yeah, that looks kind of weird. Whenever you start, yeah, so this is about the specs. That's fine. Then we have something about persistence. Oh yeah, that's the thing. I was gonna move it in the documentation. That's what I wanted to do. So we're gonna move previews into its own thing. Let's see, SDK, new file, previews, because that page was already overloaded. MDX. Let's see, ports, and it's even called ports. Previews. So this is going to be previews. Learn about preview tokens. Previews and preview tokens in CodeSandbox SDK. So let's call it previews. Oh, we actually have it. Maybe we should call them private previews. Because this is all about, yeah, look at this, because now you're connecting to it first, which is super weird. You don't have to do that. Oh, that might have been me, actually. You didn't do that before. But anyways. Get sign preview URL. This is interesting though. I wonder if there's a better way of exposing this. I think we're gonna call them preview tokens. Yeah. Okay. Preview tokens. So let's rename this to preview tokens. And then we're going to put those up there with I think I'm going to have them way up here, because this is an important feature. I think we can make this a bit more accessible. Close all. Let's see, preview tokens. Let's read through it first. So if a sandbox is private, its previews won't be accessible unless a preview token is provided. A preview token can be provided through the URL, a header, or a cookie. You can obtain a preview token by calling sandbox preview token.create. You can also set a custom expiration time for the token. Managing, you can also revoke a preview token this way, running from the browser. Yeah, so yeah, what I'm reflecting on is yeah. No, I guess this is fine. Yeah. No, this is fine. Okay. I don't think we really have to change anything here. So just moving it up there makes a lot more sense because it's actually part of the sandbox, not like connecting to it. But we have to wait. Let's say the sandbox is running something on port 3000. Get the sign. I don't like this. Get sign preview URL. I think you should be able to get. Why do you need to actually connect to the VM to get the preview URL? I don't think that makes sense. Like you should be able to do that without connecting to the thing, because it's just like we're gonna check that. Let's see. Like this is a sandbox management API, and what I was wondering that we can even make it possible to, now that connect to sandbox has this okay, let's just go in and look at it first. I think we can make this a bit smoother. So this will be, where are the clients? WebSocket client, ports, get signed preview URL. So it's using the port info. Oh, this is actually, oh, this is this get open port. Oh, okay. So this is actually functionality we have. Oh, okay. Let's look at that then. So we have a port client, get sign. Where's this coming from? I'm confused. Where is this coming from? Get signed. Oh, sorry, that was preview token. No, sorry. Ports. Get open ports. Oh, we are calling. Oh, sorry. So it is an actual thing, but we have a port URL. But that URL is something we have access to. Yeah. So you'll have to excuse me. I'm inside my head. So picture manager response. This thing has. Yeah, I guess we can't really infer the actual URL of the port. But we should be able to. Okay, I'm gonna add this question, and I'm gonna ask about it. Why do you need to connect to get the signed preview URL? Can we rather return the preview origin on picture manager response and rather make it a sandbox management type of thing? Okay, so we're not going to change that now because we really can't. But let's see. But we need to change the documentation so that yeah, let's just fix the documentation for now. Oh, that's not the documentation. Where did it go? Docs. So yeah, this is a little bit weird. Await sandbox.connect. Yeah, I guess we can do that after we created the token. So this just creates, yeah, a general preview token, right? And then we connect, and then we have client, ports, port gets signed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Managing, running from the browser. Yeah, running from the browser. Using the token for API requests. So this isn't correct. Const client is await sandbox.connect. Start a development server. Port info. It's under sandbox ports. That's true. Oh, monitoring. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so so this is interesting. Like preview tokens and ports are different things, right? You don't create a preview token for a specific port. So I do not think this makes any sense to have here. Oh yeah, sorry. So API, that was actually part of the ports API. Sorry. So that's not going to be here. This is going to be about managing. Yeah, I think we should fix this. But what I'm wondering though is what we're going to check is inside here, when we actually create the URL on a port, where do we get that create ports value? Yes, we just get a list. We don't actually like generate the URL here. We just get a list from picture. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. That's going to be a big improvement, I think. But let's go to the ports thing and just clean that up. And then we're going to try to publish this thing. Hi there. Where were we? Oh, here. No. Yeah, here we are. Ports. So now we're going to remove all this. Well, if the sandbox is private, if the sandbox is private, we'll ask user to sign in. If the sandbox is private, you need to use the preview tokens. I don't know. Is it like /preview preview tokens or something. I don't know. Let's do that. Yeah, and then we can remove all of this from ports, and it's going to be all about ports. So let's take a quick look at those ports. Ports. Yeah, let's see. So this would be ports. Yeah, I think I can just call them ports. Ports. Let's see. Ports API allows you to monitor and organize. Whenever a port is open. Yeah, because we do have .csv.app. So the thing is, like, we have the sandbox ID. We have the sandbox ID, and what you could do to get a signed URL is that you rather pass in the port you want to sign the URL for. And then we're gonna generate the actual signed URL. So you don't have get signed URL on the port. You have get signed URL on the preview token, but you pass in the port. I think we're gonna fix that. Yeah, so let's just fix the actual, yeah, I'm gonna actually, let's see. So this will be client await sandbox.connect, and then this is client, getting port information. Cons client is await sandbox.connect. So again, it's client await sandbox.connect. Oh my, I've gone through a lot of iterations on this. Starting a web server. Client await sandbox.connect. Doop, doop. Monitoring multiple ports. Const client is await sandbox.connect. Okay, cool. We're happy about that, but we are gonna change the implementation. The thing is, like, if we're actually gonna use the SDK in the stream environment, oh, but don't we actually pass? Oh, wait a minute. We're gonna actually fix this, because I believe, well, let's first of all git add git commit fix docs. Well, we're gonna actually, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think we have time for this. Let's see. So when we actually create the thingy, where are you? Here you are. So when we create this thing, we have client options and we have base URL. Yeah, I want to see how that's being used. CSP is not set. Sandbox client. Get base URL. Oh, interesting. Together AI CSP SDK. Oh, API.CodeSandbox. Okay. Okay, but I think we can hard code this. At least for now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into ports and we're gonna remove the get signed thing from it. Let's see. So this is gonna be on the actual preview tokens thing here instead. Let's just put it up here. And we're not gonna, oh, we even get the port here. So we're gonna remove, we don't care if the port is open, right? That shouldn't matter. And then we're gonna go back to ports and we're gonna have this mapping to port info thing. Port info, get preview URL. Oh, where is it getting the host name from? Is that also something we, picture client? Where's that coming from? New port info. Yeah, that's the URL. Okay. Get preview. Yeah, but that's fine. Get preview URL. Protocol. Okay, do we actually need that? Get open port, get open ports. Yeah, I'm thinking we can just remove it. Like you get the URL and you get the port. Yeah, I think that's fine. Let's see, new port info, because we're just passing in the port and the URL. Yeah, I think this is an unnecessary abstraction now. So this is going to be, let's see, protocol dot port. So we don't have to map this anymore. Get open port. Well, we don't have to type that. And we don't have to type that because we don't need to map that. And then, okay, let's do protocol port info. Yeah, because this is now an actual port info. Cool. Okay, that cleans that up a bit. And then inside preview tokens, we're actually gonna just shove, let's see. Get signed preview URL. Oh, it's basically just getting the, this get preview URL. Yeah. And then preview URL is, well, it's basically, okay, we can just build this up. So this would be protocol this.sandbox, sorry. This.sandbox ID dash port.csp.app. That is the preview URL. Cool. So we'd simplify that a lot now. And you can get these signed preview URLs without actually connecting to the VM, which I think is good. Cool. That's nice. So now we can change the documentation for this. The thing... Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, it's also interesting, like, would you ever want to create... Would you ever want to create a token, preview token, without... Like, the whole purpose of it is to get the actual preview URL, right? So instead of doing this, we can just shove it on the thing. Well, but then you have to pass in the protocol and everything here. Okay, no, we need the ID and everything. Okay, let's just keep it like this for now. Does not throw an error. Yeah, we have to go through all of that stuff. Anyways, yeah, this is it. And then what we could do, we could make this an option, right? You pass into the SDK, but for now you can't really use anything else there. Okay, so let's add this, commit, fixed ports and other stuff. I'm just gonna run build, and then this test that we had, let's just go back and connect. This is gonna be a resume. Not sure why it's complained. Oh, look at that. Oh, port info. Oh, shit. Does tasks also? Protocol port. So we're not gonna map over those anymore. Cool. npm run build. Oh, await. Connect. This is gonna be the client. I'm just gonna see if it actually works. So this actually, in this version, it looks like this. npx suite node test, yes. Yeah. Cool. That's it. Oh. And then we're gonna change the documentation. So hopefully I didn't miss anything here. That happens sometimes. Like I miss like the use case. Because I'm like here to try to simplify everything, make it as accessible as possible, and then I might miss something. It happens. Okay, so we have preview tokens now. So let's fix the documentation for that. Oh yeah, because we also need to be able to like, yeah, like put the token in a header or in a cookie as well. I wonder if we could like, yeah, whatever. So now we don't actually have to do any of this. Get signed preview URL. And this is even wrong. No, sorry, because it's on the port. Yeah, sorry. So now we can say preview URL is sandbox preview tokens dot get signed preview URL. And we pass in 3000 preview token dot token. And then optionally we could have passed in the signed URL. Oh, that's interesting. I think we should put that in a call out. When you open a signed URL in the browser, we'll automatically put the preview. Okay. I don't think we need to explain that. Pass in the port and token to create the URL for. Yeah, we should put that on its own thing. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like you could have it on the preview token itself. Yeah, I'm a bit curious about this. Like, how would you actually, how would you do this in real life? So you would connect to a sandbox, maybe in the, like, that's the thing. I don't know the use cases very well yet. So maybe you would generate the preview token. Yeah, you could create it on the server. You might create it as a user is like, yeah, you probably want to persist this, maybe. Yeah, let's keep it like this. And you know what? I think we should flip these. Because it's like the token. Well, maybe it doesn't matter. Yeah, whatever. And then managing preview tokens. Yeah, I'm running from the browser. I want to change that example. Oh, do you pass the sandbox ID to generating the token? You don't need that. Where's preview token? Oh, yeah, that was actually changed. Okay, so it's just the documentation that's lagging behind. Yeah, so this would be sandbox is await SDK sandbox resume sandbox ID. Yeah, I think it was in two places again. Like it was, you could do it on the actual sandbox, or you could do it from the SDK. Yeah, it is interesting, like how some of these APIs, you might want to do them without resuming the sandbox. But yeah, we're gonna find a good term for that. Preview token await sandbox create. And then, yeah, signed URL equals sandbox preview tokens get signed preview URL 3000 preview token dot token signed URL to the browser. Yeah, the question is like, this is a little bit weird because you're kind of pre-creating it. But I think like a better way to kind of look at this is that you would rather, when you're waiting for the port, you could even create the preview URL while you're waiting for the port. Yeah, I'm gonna show that instead. So let's see. So this would be like export const get or something. This is just a simplified way of showing params. So you would do, yeah, we're gonna change this resume thing. I'm not sure what we're gonna call it because we don't really want to start it. I think maybe ref is the best way to, yeah, I think we're gonna do that. Ref sandbox ID. We're gonna bring that back. So it doesn't actually start anything. It just, oh, this is interesting though. Oh, fuck, this is gonna blow it up. Dagnag. Anyways, we're gonna figure that out. So we're gonna have a ref to the actual sandbox by taking params ID, and then we're gonna create a preview token, and then we're just gonna return. Maybe this is actually a post. Params body.port, something like that. So what you can do here in the browser is actually you can do await promise.all. That would be port. Yeah, I guess signed URL. And then you will kind of do, I guess, fetch API sandboxes. 1, 2, 3 preview method post. Yeah, maybe this is a little bit weird because you're waiting for the port. No, I think it's a cool example. But let's just do fetch signed URL from server 3000. In the browser, ask for the signed URL when it makes most sense. Here, asking for it while waiting for the port to open. Okay, cool. Using the token for API request, private might be running on it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this one's fine. So this is Sandbox. Oh, sorry, this is client. Oh, we're starting to get short on time here. So we're waiting for a port. So this will be Sandbox. Oh my God. Sandbox preview tokens dot create. And this is not. So URL will be https plus portinfo.url. And then exactly, and then preview token dot token. Cool. That's it for now. But what were we talking? Oh, it was a ref thing. Ugh. Okay. Yeah. The important thing is that it gets like, okay, now we can at least, no, we're missing the ref. Let's bring the ref in as well. Oh, the problem now though, I think I've kind of broken it because now the sandbox requires a picture manager response. Oh, so we've kind of been a startup for 5 years. So we never gotten to a point, and also Together AI is very much a startup. It's becoming like it's definitely found market fit, but internally it's very much a startup. So there's a lot of people coming in, like processes that's missing, that needs to be settled, and everything. And it's always been the same at CodeSandbox as well. That we never had like, it's always been this MVP mindset. So we don't have like diligent process in place. That's something that, yeah, we've just not gotten to that place as a company yet. It hasn't been worth it. So when we do this release now, I could have called it alpha, but we kind of proven the MVP of it. So I wouldn't call it an alpha. Like that's more of a subjective thing, I guess. One thing is, if it was the actual first release of the whole SDK, I would call it an alpha. But now it's more like yeah, I think when it comes to versioning, I have a tendency to think about like more emotionally how I think about it, like not like technically. Like technically it should start with an alpha, right? But maybe we can, okay, to kind of defend being like rational about this, the alpha was this thing. This is the alpha. Like we had it running, we ran a few tests and stuff. And beta is more like inviting people in, right, to test it. Yeah. I guess there's a lot of different perspectives on what is an alpha and what is a beta thing. But yeah, that at least that was some context around things. But this is a problem. We have to make Picture Manager response. Yeah, exactly. Thanks. We have to make this actually optional, which is interesting to me. Because there are certain things, but it really is fine to do this. It's just that now we might have to like start or like resume. Do we have resume here as well? Update tier, hibernate, shut down. Yeah, we might have to resume it before we can do certain things. But that's completely transparent to the consumer. So I think that's fine. So what it basically just means is that if you want to check things like, yeah, certain things just becomes, No, maybe it makes more sense to have that replicated Surface API. Yeah, that's definitely a better way to do it. So it basically means you should be able to yeah. Because that means, so there are like high level, so it would mean that would also fix shutdown. Okay, I think we need to do that. Again, like I'm trying to do something and then I learn and then we kind of go back to how it was. But that means it's almost like, yeah, it's very interesting, this dynamics of so we don't have an actual ref thing. There are just certain things you can do without starting a sandbox, but you just reference a sandbox. So instead of having a ref around to grab an instance of a sandbox or a reference instance, I guess. But it's just hell for a documentation to have, like, you have to double document the methods, which I don't like. That's the beauty of having like this sandbox reference, is that that's where you have the interactions with the sandbox. But now we have like the SDK has certain methods which takes a sandbox ID, and then the user has to like, oh, where do I find the method? Because it might not be intuitive that, oh, this requires the VM to be started and this other thing doesn't require the VM to be started. But the thing that bothers me the most, like the thing that got me stumped on this, shit, we need to publish a version. The thing that got me stumped on this is that like boot up type, cluster, is up to date, all of these actually needs the VM to be started. And yeah, now these can't be properties. Now these have to be methods, which is fine. Like you can say get boot up type, get cluster, is up to date can be a function. You know what? I'm actually gonna think about this one a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna think about that one. What were we actually trying to do? What were we looking at? Was it create resume? So shutdown definitely makes sense to be able to do without having a running VM. You can also do it with the preview tokens, and that might actually make sense that you want to do that. Like, it depends on the company, right? Maybe there are like very, very specific sandboxes that runs development processes on very specific ports, and you just want to have that part of the creating the project. It's like, oh, here you're gonna get the signed preview thing that has like very long expiration. And you don't necessarily want to start the VM. Yeah, no, I want to learn a little bit about this first. Okay, let's see if we can actually publish this. So I read that there is this thing called npm version pre-release. Oh, that's bumping the pre-release. So let's see if we can do this. So this would be package version 1.0. What's this special thing? So we can say beta.0, I think. And then we could, yeah, so we could bump the pre-release. Yeah. So that's just bumping it. And then we publish it on the tag beta. I think that's how it works. Like, how do we have any? CodeSandbox SDK. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. We actually, hey, we had an alpha. There you go. Cool. And then this is tag latest. Yeah. So we're going to have, I don't think this is actually going to work. I'm not sure if I have access. Let's see. For two. And I have my Authy running here. Come on, Authy. 73076. Well, it authenticated. Hey, it actually worked. Cool. You know what? I'm gonna stop the stream, and then I'm gonna do my session with the customer, and I know we're gonna learn something there. And so I'm gonna do another stream after that. Like, I'm really pumped to work on Sandbox, but the most important thing is the SDK. We need to get that into like a publishable state and start to get some feedback and kind of prep it for, like, we're gonna have this announcement to everyone that's like current customers. As I mentioned about like the new team that's set up for this, like our process for feedback, our roadmap. We're gonna announce that we have this beta. This is the beta documentation. Please try it, give us feedback, and then we're gonna do like a proper release for this. So I want to get that ready first, and then while that process is going on, like us figuring out the actual release, I'm gonna work on Sandpack. Yeah, and we also have the files thing, but that's probably not gonna happen until, definitely not gonna happen until next week. Cool. Yeah, fine. Thanks for following along, and then yeah, we will see each other a bit later today. Bye for now.